Hey everybody, welcome to a new video. Yes, I know it's been a while, but I have been in the planning stages on exactly how I was going to do this video. So you can probably see a mass of things just sitting on the table here. So today I will be showing you how to make paper. A few videos ago, probably even the last one that I posted, I promised that I would show you guys how to do this. So you only need a couple of basic things. So you need scrap paper. So I have old book pages, I have old stuff from the printer, and I also have a bag of stuff that I just had sitting. Like, I have a bag and it's just scraps, basically paper offcuts. Let me just get that a bit closer to the camera for you. So you can see there's paper offcuts in there, just all sorts of trimming and anything really, anything paper. There's a bit of cardstock in there, I don't know, we'll find out. So that's your main stuff, that's, you need paper, any scrap paper, anything. And then you will need a sponge. You'll need some calico, maybe an old towel, which I forgot to bring out, a big container. This is to hold your water and your paper mix. So this is just one from Kmart, it's 60 litres, and I'll empty that out when I'm finished. An old blender. As you see, this thing has seen better days, but it works just fine. And last but not least, the whole thing that you need to make paper, and sorry for it being so dirty, but I have used this a lot, is you need two the same size photo frames. Take out the glass so they both look like this, and then you'll need one covered in like fly mesh, and I've just tacked it with tins. This is metal fly mesh, you can use normal fly mesh. And I chose wooden frames just because it was easier to put the tacks in. So and of course you're going to need water. So yeah, that's basically what you need to start making paper. So the next thing will be to get your paper and just rip it up into little bits. So this might take a little while, so but you want it small. The smaller the better. Probably if you have a shredder to run pieces through, that would work excellent. And it doesn't matter if it's got ink and that on it, it's not going to matter. It will just add to the effect. Oh, the other thing which I completely forgot is some it's optional obviously, but some hot puree or some lavender or something like that. Just beware that some pot puree is actually coloured, so when you put it in the water, it will the colour will run a little bit on your pages. But that, I mean, that's fine. So I mean, it doesn't take long, but I would advise that you get a fair good bag of stuff before you start making paper, because it mulches down to nothing in a blender. So alright, I'm going to finish doing this. It's going to probably take me a little while because of the big bag. So I'll rip it all up and leave it on the table so you can see, and I will be back when that's all done. Okay, so I'm about not even a quarter way through my bag. There's a decent amount of paper here. You could stop here, but I prefer to collect a lot. And then if you don't need the paper, then you've just got it there for next time. And I also wanted to explain, you can't put pieces in this big because it will take forever to blend up. So that's why I'm ripping it into the smallest pieces possible. You can also use scissors. I did think about that before when I started, but of course, like, my hands are getting sore just sitting here ripping paper, and I've been sitting here for a good 15 minutes or so. So, yeah. So I've got a little bit of cardboard here. I've got a book page. I've got some old, just offcuts, lots of paper, scrap offcut paper that I did for a project. I've got envelopes, so I've got a range of everything, and it's just up to you what you actually want to put inside your paper. The sky's limitless. You can use old textbooks, you can use old catalogues, you can use whatever you like. I just use my paper scrap, so I actually have a bag next to my bins. I have bin for bin stuff, and then I have a bag for all my paper, cardboard scraps that I decide to keep. I don't even know what this for is. Anyway, so yeah, if you use coloured cardstock, you'll get like this will sort of speckle through the paper, gives it sort of a nice effect. So if you're sort of going for a colour matching for a journal or something like that, I would suggest putting in some cardstock. I would rip it a bit smaller just so it doesn't take as long in the blend to cut up. So I'm going to do the rest of my bag, which is still about half full, I'd say. And I will come back when I'm ready to throw everything into the blender. Okay, well, I've gone off screen, sorry about that. So I'm not completely done with my bag of stuff. I have a lot of full A4 sheets of paper that I've used for printing that haven't printed out. I have enough white paper here. So I've got some cardboard, I've got envelopes, I've got all those, you know, you hear me say, save your scraps. Well, even the tiny little ones, they're going to go into making paper. I think this one actually was paper, my Handmade making paper. So I normally don't rip it out up onto a desk like this. I normally just put it back into a bag. I have a basket underneath me here off screen that I'm just going to scrape it all into. And just give it a mix around so everything's sort of evenly distributed. And I normally just put it back into the bag, and that way you can sort of give it a good shake and then grab handfuls out. But today, since I'm trying to do this on camera, there we go. So just give it a good mix around. Normally, if I wasn't doing it on camera, I'd just sort of be whatever my hands landed on, so it would be really well mixed anyway. So I've got a fair decent amount of paper here. I may go back and go, oh, that piece is too big, I need to rip that up some more. And you'll probably find yourself doing that before you put it into the blender anyway. So I am just going to go and plug my blender in, get some water, and I will show you how I set all this up to start making actual paper. Okay, I'm a little tight on space and I apologise for that. So what I might do is I'll show you one step at a time. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is get our bucket. And you need something that's going to be able to fit in your made photo frames up. So I'm just going to add some water And because I'm doing this outside, I have a watering can. So about that much to start off with, just to give some extra water to the mix. Put that to one side. Bring this, and we're just going to put in just a couple of handfuls. So it's about half full. Get that out of the way. And then we're going to pretty much fill it about 2/3 of the way, maybe 3/4. The important thing is not to put in too much paper so your blender runs dry. So it is a little bit hard to see that. So my blender is plugged in off camera. So I'm just going to blitz it until it's smooth. So I will reposition the camera and I will show you that in a sec. Okay, hopefully this is in focus. So yeah, you can see it's just gone to pulp, and that's what you want. So I'm going to take this off the blender now, and it's super hard to do one-handed. Give me 1 second. Okay, you'll have to excuse me if it's all wobbly because this part's all handheld. So, oh, maybe I should have. There we go. So now we're just going to walk it over and pour it. And you want to do that. Oh, geez, I think about at least half a dozen times, if not 10. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll be back when I'm happy that I have enough pulp in the bottom of this container. Okay, so this is all the paper done up that I had in my basket. Sorry, I'll just get some more light in here. So I'm just going to add, I went and filled up another watering can, so I'm just going to add the last of that to the water now. But you can see there's a fair decent amount of pulp in there already. Whoop. So, and I think what I'll do is I'll go and fill up another half a can, because to me that's going to be too thick, just what's sitting on the surface there. So I'll go do that and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back with the last bit of water. So for us water saving lasses, it's about 25 litres I've used in water. I live out in property and I only have tank water and water that I can go in and cart in from town, so every drop is precious. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly grab my stuff and just set it up off camera, and we will sort of move along the production line so you guys know what's going on. So what we're going to do, oh, super heavy by the way. Move you guys up there. Hopefully that's still alright. This one, and you also probably noticed halfway through that little blender montage I changed blenders. That's because my first blender died, so I had to run into the kitchen and get the new blender that I had bought. It's a $30 Kmart one, so I'm not really fussed. It should wash up pretty easily, or I might just buy a replacement for $30. So, alright, so we grab our two, oh actually, yes we need this, but first I have some lavender that I grew and dried last year. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit that on top. Oh, if you guys could smell it, it's amazing. Alright, not too much because whatever's sitting on the top will go on top of your paper. So I'll probably top it up every couple of times I do the paper. Alright, so I'm going to have them back to back like this. I don't think hugging the tripod would be a good idea. So what we're going to do is going to go in, scoop and shake, and then when we're happy with how everything's sitting, lift up, lift it straight and let the water drain out. Don't be tempted to tip it because your paper will move. So hopefully my arm's not in the way too much, but you can sort of see how it's, once it stops dripping. So I will do that now, just because the paper doesn't have much chance to move. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you guys with me over to my towel. Okay. Alright. So we can safely lift this off now. Beautiful. Now, sponge, don't press, okay? Just lightly sit it on top and just very gently. And it's just to help remove that surface water, and then just squeeze the water back in to the... So the reason we don't want to press is because we'll press it into, oh gosh, that paper is super thick. We'll push it into the mesh and that will make it harder to get off. Now, I pushed too hard obviously, or something's happened and this has come off. So what I would do is take it off. Sorry, that's my phone. And I will take it back over to here and just scrape it in. So that's how easy it is to, if you make a mistake, just sort of give it a rinse and you're good to go again. So just give it a bit of a mix so the pulp that's on the bottom comes up to the top. This together. When you're ready, go in and up, give it a shake, and that just helps things settle, and then let the water drain out. Just have to be a little bit patient with this part. The more water you can drain off before you take it to your towel, the easier it's going to be for you. So, it's still running down here. So I'll wait for that to sort of go to a drip and then I'll take it over. So sometimes if your paper comes out too thick, you might need to add some more water. So we'll see. It's been a while since I've made paper, so you forget all the finicky little things. Alright, let's give that a go. Alright. Sorry. Alright. So, as before, lift that off gently, and then we're just going to very lightly, very gently squeeze off. So it's kind of like you're just blotting it to get that extra water off. So you don't need to go to town and like be careful, because like look what I just did again. And you should be able to see just the lavender seeds on top there. Of the lavender sort of here. Alrighty, now here comes the fun part. You can either take this over to your calico and flop, or you can lay your calico on like so, and then put your hand on there and then gently turn it over. Okay, so my other camera got a bit overwhelmed. I think it got a bit too hot. It's going to be a scorcher here today, so I have switched over to my phone. So I've just placed the sponge onto the mesh on the other side after we flipped it, if you remember, and now we're going to press quite hard, because we want to push the paper onto the calico so we can release it from the mesh. So, and then just squeeze the water out back into your tub. So it might take a little while, a couple of goes around, but yeah, that's okay. That's what you want. Alright, so let's see if we can lift it. So I lift and wiggle, and yes, it is lifting. So you should be able to just see the sun creeping through on this side now. So hold the calico, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Sometimes it might need an extra push down with the sponge. Sometimes it likes to separate on you. The fun of making paper. Sometimes you might need to approach it from a different angle. So yeah, just don't stress. There we go. There is our piece of paper. So then you just set it aside to dry. I will do another piece and put it on the other side here. So I have two. Put it in somewhere where it's not windy, which always seems to be my problem when I make paper, mind you. It's always windy. So I've tried to do it in my shipping container today. And of course the wind is blowing in through the shipping container, but it's not too bad. So yeah, just keep doing that, and you'll realize when your pulp gets a little low, so you can top it up with more or just sort of finish. I usually do about 8 pages. It seems to be suffice for me. So what I will do, I will quickly show you how I do the flip. So I will just do off camera, I will get some paper. Okay, so let's try this again. So put this out of the way, and I will rinse this in the water too because it has valuable pulp on it. You want your seal to be pretty good between the two photo frames, and I don't know if you can see the paper is probably about maybe a millimetre or two thick. You don't want it any thicker than that. So, and some of my chunks, there's some chunks in this one. Just gently lift it off. This is probably the most nerve-wracking part when doing paper, because you don't want to mess up the paper, but you don't want too much water because otherwise it will go onto the calico, and then it'll take longer for your paper to dry. All right. Bubble there. All right. Okay. So as you can see, the paper's pretty stuck on the just gonna make sure that it sticks on there. That's why you've got to push it down onto the calico, and hopefully you can see that. I will move this over a little bit. So yeah guys, that's pretty much all it is. That's all there is to it. This is the way I like to make paper. And yeah, I have about 4 calico sheets, so I will make 8 pages, let them dry, and hot day is a good day to do it, obviously, because the paper will dry very quickly, especially if there's no wind and you can stick it out in the sun. So just being careful because these are close. I don't normally do them this close, but sometimes that's just how it goes. And of course it doesn't want to separate for me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to this side. All fiddly, all fussing. But usually once you get it to go, it will go. There we go! 2 pieces of paper! Ha ha ha! Alright, I'm going to stick that somewhere so it can dry. As I said, normally they're a bit further apart. This one would be up higher. But yeah. Okay, so I have finished 8 pages. I'll show you them shortly. So there's a little bit of pulp left. I could probably get a couple more pages. But they'll start to get really thin. So what I will do with this is I will cover it, and when this paper has dried, which I'll scoot you over now, you see the big boo-boo I made on the last sheet of paper. When these dry, I will take them off, I will show you, and then I'll either save the paper for like this for another day. And you just put a lid on it, keep it in a cool spot. The water shouldn't evaporate too much, and then the only water you have to add is the water that you add to make the pulp in the blender. So I still have plenty of paper, so yeah, but I only do it set to 8. I just find it easier that way. Usually I only do enough for about 8 with about this much pulp left over. And once it settles, you'll be able to see it if you have a clear container, you'll be able to see it sitting on the bottom. So you can see they've still got plenty of what do you call it, lavender left in there. So I put in more than I thought. So I'm going to leave it here, and then I will show you when the paper is dry, which will probably take a couple of hours. So I'll be back then. Okay, last video. Here we are. We have our paper dry. You can tell it's dry because it's peeling off the calico. So it's pretty easy to remove. Like that. It still will be a little damp on this side, so I suggest just laying it out on a flat surface until it dries completely. Of course, if you're doing this in the sun, like I normally would have if it wasn't a windy day, they would have been dried hours ago by now. So, but yeah, that one's still a bit damp. Like I said, I'll just leave them on the table here overnight just to make sure that they're dried properly. So yeah, 8 pieces of paper. This one, for however reason, I don't know how, but the wind blew and curled it, so I'll have to flatten that one. But you can see all the lavender and that in that one. So yeah, that comes to the end of this video. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learnt something. Give us a like and a comment and a share maybe if you really found this helpful. Have any questions, obviously chuck them into the comments below and I will answer as soon as I can. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.